Hi, baby. Why are you calling so early on my day off? Her voice came through, feigning innocence as the GPS tracker beeped, her location a stark betrayal at a roadside motel. That moment, the foundation of our marriage cracked, the echo of her deceit splintering the silence of my disbelief. Amidst the tumult of my heartbreak, I drove, each mile a heavy step towards the grim confrontation of her infidelity. As the motel sign loomed, the truth awaited, harsh and inevitable. This is my story. Enjoy watching it. My name's Tyler Clinton, and I've got a tale to share. I never thought I'd have to ask why my wife couldn't keep true to our wedding promise, even though she said she wanted to be with me. Now here I am, sitting out back on a cool May night, waiting for the woman who'll soon be my ex. She got the divorce papers at work today, and she'll be coming through that door any minute. I'm trying to guess how she'll take it, but I'm not sure because I think she might not have her head on straight. I found out she was cheating 3 weeks ago on April 28th. More on that later. We're talking out back because it's private here. Our place doesn't have a lot of space, so neighbors won't hear any fuss. Plus, there's a private eye hiding nearby, keeping an eye out for us in case things get too heated. Lindsay Lynn, to me, was smart and pretty. We met in Chicago when I was studying for my MBA in medicine and public health. She was aiming to be an anesthesiologist nurse after spending 2 years in the neonatal unit. That job had tough hours and a lot of heartache compared to anesthesia. Nurses there work steadier hours. Lynn worked morning to evening, 4 days a week, earning more but with less stress. The only hitch was she got bored quick and was always hunting for the new. A fresh app, a new buddy, or a new eatery. We chatted about it when we were dating, and I told her I was totally cool with her love for the new. I used to think getting married meant you could always find something new with the same person if you really put your heart into it. My partner didn't fight this idea, but she likes new things and can change her mind a lot. So I said we should have a prenup. She didn't like this at first, thinking it was like saying she wasn't trustworthy. I told her it was to keep us both safe, and she said okay and signed it. It was pretty simple. If we ever split, we'd split what we got together down the middle, but keep our own savings. If cheating was why we broke up, then it would be 80-20. After we signed it, we pretty much forgot about it. Then we moved from Chicago to Des Moines for a better life. It's cheaper, there's lots of work, especially in healthcare, and the downtown area is cool. Des Moines gets really cold in winter, but spring, fall, and summer are usually nice. The heat isn't too bad because it's not too humid and nights feel good. Also, they grow great corn here in the summer, and it's where the guy who started Pinterest is from. We had a good job, a nice house, and 8 happy years. What's not to love? 3 weeks ago, I thought we were doing okay. Not perfect, but good enough. We had small fights, like about how to squeeze toothpaste or making sure the dishes were done before bed. We didn't mind doing dishes and using the dishwasher every few days. Like many couples in America, we had our fights, but still liked hanging out with our neighbors and friends. We could bicker over small things, but mostly, we enjoyed slow walks and long chats on the porch. We often went away for weekends to a cabin or to see shows in Chicago, Minneapolis, or Dallas. We were close, talking openly about what we liked and didn't like. At 34, we were excited about the idea of having kids and becoming parents. You might think Lynn let me down in private moments, but maybe you're shy to ask. Does Lynn win over every guy she meets? Did we think about not just being with each other? Did I see early signs that Lynn liked many partners? Was she getting back at me for being unfaithful? Was her other guy making her happy like a storybook hero? Was she with him for money? Let's go through these one by one. Lynn seems really happy with our life. I'm not perfect, but I do my best. We've never had big problems. Plus, she's funny and smart. She's tall, with hair that's blonde and brown. I didn't see any warning signs, but if I missed them, that's on me for not paying attention early on. Maybe I should have paid more attention to her wanting to try new things since we started going out. I've never been more than just friendly with another woman. About her guy, he's good-looking, but not too much. He's tall, not too heavy, and fit. He has blonde hair and bright blue eyes. At 28, he's still studying medicine and has been trying hands-on in surgery for 2 months. Though he may earn well later, it doesn't pull me in since his partner makes $100,000 and I make double. It'll be about 10 years before he earns big. Let me share what went down in the last 3 weeks. Near April's end, I was at a 3-day meet for medical bosses in Kansas City. I planned to stay 4 days to look over some talk plans on the last day, but found none that caught my eye. Still, the week was well spent. On day 1, I met 3 folks from my area who had the same troubles. We hit it off, meeting each night to chat and share. We made friends, swapped details, and had laughs over beer. By day 3's end, I chose to head home early the next day. The trip was under 3 hours, and I drove instead of flying. On Interstate 35, a chill road with light traffic, I listened to Dan Carlin's history show about World War I. Kansas City's got a great World War I museum given by its only president from Missouri. Carlin's facts were a big help for a tour I planned before the meeting, and for those who don't know, President Harry Truman shows what our nation is about. After taking my time to leave, knowing my wife was on a 3-day rest and eager for my return, I left at 5 in the morning, planning a sweet surprise for her at 8. But when I arrived, I saw Lynn's car wasn't there. She drives a 2018 Honda Accord, shiny black with a pearl look, and parks it in the garage. Only when it rains, which hasn't been for a week. If her car wasn't there, she wasn't home. The GPS system that works with all iPhones let me find out her phone was near the airport. I was puzzled because we live in northeast Des Moines, close to the Harvester Golf Course. We picked this house for its short walk to the club we both liked. The airport is way over in the southwest part of town, making me uneasy. If she picked up, I planned to act normal and just ask how she was. I thought she wouldn't guess to check my spot on the app at such an early time. After 15 minutes with no answer, I chose to try calling her again, and she picked up. My heart sank. "Hi, baby," she said with sleep in her voice. "Why are you calling so early on my day off?" I said sorry to Lynn, trying to sound cool. "I just miss you," I said. I had some time before my morning meeting and wanted to hear her voice. Then I heard noises that told me she was still in bed, just not ours. "Don't stress, Tyler. I'm always glad to talk with my wonderful husband. Seems like you're still in bed, so I won't keep you. Just wanted to say I love you and I'll be back for dinner tomorrow. Unless you want me to skip the last day and come home early?" "That would be amazing. But I have stuff to do as soon as I wake up. And then I'm having dinner with Kim and Sally. We've had it planned for 2 weeks, so I can't bail." These two are her work buddies, and she hadn't made it clear that she was not in her own bed. Thinking fast, I chose to go along with her story. "Okay, baby, I'll let you get back to sleep. Before you go, can you do something for me? Can you look in the top drawer of my nightstand and see if the pen you gave me for my birthday is there? I can't find it, and I'm worried I lost it. I think I put it in my shirt pocket," she said, wanting to go back to sleep. "Can I check and call you back before I go to eat lunch?" I knew that wasn't the right thing to say. Then I heard, "I'll look for it, but I'll be upset if it's gone and you lost my gift." My heart beat fast, but I tried to sound calm. "Sure, Lynn, just make sure to look." "I'll let you sleep now. Sorry for waking you up," I said. "Thank you, dear. I'll call you soon. I love you." I ended the call and walked to the car, hearing her say softly back, "I love you too." Hoping for the best but ready for the worst, I started my drive to the airport, 40 minutes from our home. I made it in 30 minutes, glad I wasn't caught for driving fast. I kept looking at the app on my phone. Her spot didn't move. If she had accidentally seen that I was close, we might have had a big fight. But I felt like she was too caught up in something or with someone to worry about where I was. Following the map, I got to the Hampton Inn. I found a spot to park near a DSMB, away from the other few cars. Getting out, I thought Lynn might spot my car and chose to move to the Quality Inn Hotels lot nearby. I parked where I could see the Hamptons entrance without her seeing my dark blue Genesis G70. Trying to keep my plan, I fought back tears. Was she really not true to me? Who was she with? And why? Did she really turn her back on our 8-year strong, loving tie? Had she been swept off her feet, and would she feel bad if others found out? Was there a good reason for her lies and backstabbing? If she had free time before I got back, she often went to the big hotel in town or the fancy one. But why go there when we have our own hot tub and pool at home? Plus, her go-to massage person was just a quick drive from our place. Nothing about this seemed okay. For about an hour, I was torn up inside until I saw her come out with Justin Banks. They were holding hands, giving pecks to each other as they made their way to the door. Seeing this young guy who's studying medicine didn't sit well with me. So charming, my wife. I quickly took a few photos on my phone as they shared another big kiss before jumping into his car. I met him 2 months back at a clinic visit. I'm usually good with people, making friends fast. But Justin came off as full of himself when Lynn introduced us. He gave my hand a too strong squeeze, like he was trying to show he was the boss. I remember my dad's tip to keep eye contact and have a good handshake. I wasn't taken by him. Our chat was stiff, and he seemed to smirk a lot. On our ride home, I told Lynn what I thought, but she didn't take me seriously. You know how some doctors can be, full of themselves? Justin's different, she said. There I was, sitting in the car park watching my marriage get shaky. Mixed up inside, I wondered, should I take this to court, hire a spy? I had to really think on what to do next. Solving problems is what I do for work. I tried to calm down and figure out a plan. After a bit of thought, I came up with a rough plan and made a brave choice. I saw that when they left the Hamptons, they didn't take any bags for staying overnight. This made me think they might not plan to come back right away. Maybe they wanted to grab a quick bite and then return for fun after eating. I used the Glimpse app to see they went to the closest diner, just 2 miles away. With a little time to spare, I went back to the Hampton and walked into the lobby. Lucky for me, it was empty, except for a kind woman in her middle years at the front desk. She smiled and said hello as I walked up. "Good morning, how can I help?" she asked. I glanced at her name tag and saw the ring on her finger. "Hi, Beth. I'm Tyler. I've got a problem, and I was hoping you could help me." "Nice to meet you, Tyler. Let's see what I can do." "You wouldn't happen to have a table to book early, would you?" she guessed. "No," I replied, shaking my head. "Did you see the couple that left just now? The woman with brown hair and the younger blonde guy, about 15 minutes ago?" Beth's face went from happy to concerned. "Yes, I saw them. What's going on?" she asked. "I hate to say it, Beth, but that woman is my wife, and the guy is her co-worker. I think they might be sneaking around behind my back," I told her. Beth looked at me, puzzled, and said, "I'm not sure how I can help with that, sir." People from Iowa are nice and mind their own business, but I pressed on. "I just need to peek into their room. I won't make trouble or cause a scene here. I just need to check something. I don't need a room key. Just for someone from the hotel to let me have a quick look inside. I don't want to waste time." I felt bad asking, but added, "You're married, you might get where I'm coming from." Beth paused, then said, "You seem honest. I thought they were a bit odd too, but I usually keep out of it." But she cared and wanted to know her name. Lindsay might have put it on her credit card, maybe a fancy one if needed. The lady was ready to share the card info, telling me not to stress. After I got the card digits, I wondered if the cleaning crew had been by, but Beth said no. She then called for Thomas, who came quick. "Hey, Thomas, gotta step out for a bit. Cover for me on floor 3, Beth said, giving Thomas a look. He seemed a bit shocked, like this was a big deal for him. "Sure thing, ma'am," he said. Beth gave me a nod to come along. We rode the elevator to the 3rd floor, quiet, both of us a bit tense. Standing at 319, Beth used the key, and I hoped the door wouldn't open. But it did. I walked in. Beth stayed by the door like she was ready to run if she had to. Inside, clothes were everywhere, a man's suit by the bed. I saw a blouse and skirt that made my heart sink. I decided to take pictures and a video, talking through what I saw. I'm no lawyer, so I didn't think how easy it could be to say I set this up. Still, I made a quick video trying to cover everything. "This is room 319 at the Des Moines Marriott Airport Hotel," I said, keeping it simple. It was 9:05 on a Thursday morning, the 28th of April, 2022. My wife, Lindsay Clinton, used her American Express Gold card to pay for our hotel room. I know it's odd, but I have a thing for remembering card numbers. Last night, Lindsay checked into this hotel with a medical student from her hospital, named Justin Banks. From what I could tell by how things looked and smelled in the room, it seemed like my wife and Justin were not loyal to me. From last night till this morning, I saw them leaving the Hamptons about 15 minutes ago, being really close and loving. I took photos that showed what was happening. After a quick look in the bathroom, I got my bags ready to leave. I thought about getting a DNA test done on some items, but I already had a good guess about what I would find. Also, I could almost hear Lynn's excuses for their being gone. When Beth and I got into the elevator, I started to feel really sad. Tears fell down my cheeks as Beth, a kind lady from Iowa, put her hand on my shoulder to comfort me. "I'm very sorry, Mr. Clinton," she said when we reached the lobby. I tried to get my wallet out, but Beth's strong voice made me stop. "Don't you dare," she said in a strong tone. I smiled with thanks, told her thanks, and said, "I know I shouldn't ask, but please don't tell them I was here. If you do talk to them." She gave a small, knowing smile. She winked and said, "I've never seen you before, and suggesting it is rude." She then said, "My plan is done." "What do we do now?" I'm not a lawyer, but even I know rushing into divorce can have big problems in the U.S. Despite the prenup, there was also a bit of good news. They wouldn't be back home until late on Friday evening, giving me some time to think and make plans. I chose to drive about 30 miles southeast to the little town of Winterset. 40 minutes later, I was at Rudy's place on John Wayne Drive. Winterset was home for the Duke, even had a little museum for him. I recall going there as a kid with my dad, who loved John Wayne and knew all his movie lines by heart. Sitting in a booth at Rudy's, a quote from Wayne's newest film, The Shooter, up on the wall caught my eye. Wayne was an old gun guy battling sickness in it, set on living out his days his own way, guns in hand. He didn't let the sickness beat him. That quote hit home, showing Wayne's tough spirit. It made me think of the values my dad, a big Wayne fan, passed on to me. I'm not as big a fan as him, but I try to live by honesty and respect. I felt a bit like a mix of Clint Eastwood from Outlaw Josie Wales and John Wayne. I couldn't help but smile. "Damn right, Pilgrim," I said to myself. The waitress, catching my John Wayne act, just shook her head but played along in a Duke-like voice. "So, young man, you want something to eat?" I ordered coffee and a big breakfast. Enjoying my meal, I took a moment for some reading about cheating in marriages. I found articles about spouses cheating. Experts say it's usually not just once, but a pattern. In the U.S., it seems women who cheat do it more than once. Reading this made me think my worries about my partner might be true. I knew I had to look for proof and think about what to do next with my marriage. I knew I couldn't stay married to a wife who wasn't true to me, even though I could forgive her and still love her. The trust was gone for good. I had to get help to find proof, even with a deal made before we got married. I had to talk to a lawyer who knew about money stuff. It was also key to get checked for any bad diseases because of the risk. With only 36 hours to act fast, I needed to move quick. After eating breakfast, I left a big $1.50 tip for my $1.16 meal, hoping to make someone's day better in Des Moines. As I walked out, I texted Lynn to say sorry for finding a pen in my bag. Her text back made me want to yell at her, but I kept my cool and just sent a cold reply. 2 hours later, I was sitting with Mr. Templeton at his office. I had met him before at a charity thing, and he knew a lot about family rules. He got back to me fast and listened to my story. "I'm real sorry, Mr. Clinton," he said. "Thanks," I said. "Please, call me Tyler." "All right, Tyler, I'm Edward, but call me Ed," he replied. "Thank you, sir," I said back. "Tyler, I don't mean to be harsh. Legally, this might not look good for you. Not having kids might help, but without proving fault, you might need to talk to your wife to show the court your marriage is truly over. If your pre-marriage deal was done right, you might not lose money, but it's not sure. I think you should see my workmate, Sharp. He's good with divorce stuff. He'll have Diana, his helper, set things up for you." An hour later, I was sitting in his office. It was clear from the start that Eli Sharp was true to his name, even if he wasn't tall. He might have been short, but his love for swimming shone through. Since he was a kid in Indiana, swimming had been his thing, breaking many school records. In just a short chat, I learned he swam for 6 hours every week. His whole life, Eli had shown that being small didn't mean you couldn't win. He brought that same spirit to his job as a lawyer. He listened well, asked questions that dug deeper, and came up with a few first steps. "Are they staying in the Hamptons now?" He wasn't sure. "No worries, I'll find out." He picked up the phone and made a call. "Diana, can you ask Marley to check if Lindsay Clinton has booked room 319 at the Hampton Hotel in the RSM by tomorrow? Tell Molly I need everything by tomorrow afternoon. Don't miss anything." He knew it might ruffle some feathers, but he smiled. A bit of trouble can be interesting, right? He hung up. Molly Baker was really good at finding things out. She used to do that in Chicago, facing some wild cases. Now she was helping us from Des Moines. If things were set in motion today, by tomorrow, we'd have lots to go on. He thought it was good for me to get checked for any health issues, but worried about the wait for results. He figured my wife might be hiding her cheating by being close to me. I told him I had doctor friends who could hurry things up instead of waiting the usual 5 to 10 days. I could get the results in 2 to 3 days. So I called my buddy, Dr. Stan Rosen, and got myself in to see him the next morning. Eli got me to meet with a special accountant from their team the next day. He told me what to bring, and on that list was our before-marriage deal. He also said if my wife came back home that night, I shouldn't try to see her. We'd handle it once we got all we needed, but that might not be till next week. It could take a few weeks to be sure she was not faithful, which might not be great for us legally. But it won't harm our business. Most judges here still look down on cheating, so we must act right. Be kind and respectful. If your partner wants to talk during the weekend, act sick to dodge a fight. Apart from that, all normal. So hitting a partner is a no-go? Right, avoid any dumb moves that could mess up our case. Of course, I got you. We then shook hands and I left. I wish I could say I shared how hurt I felt, but that'd be a lie, as I still had stuff from the trip. I didn't want to go home. So I went to a different gym, got a day pass, and worked out till I felt steady. Then I took a long steam and shower and checked into the Hyatt Hotel downtown. I quickly ordered room service with a bottle of Maker's Mark. After my second drink, I decided to turn off my phone and hide it. I knew with booze I'd likely lose it, and I didn't want to risk calling my wife. I was full of tears, anger, and sadness. Eventually, I passed out. I woke up at 7 in the morning with the worst hangover since my college days. Despite feeling rough, I pushed myself to hit the gym, taking a deep swig from my glass filled with ice and more beer. Thinking back on last night, it seemed that dog had a sixth sense because after showering, I started feeling like myself again. I spent an hour at Starbucks working on a laptop on some money report for my tax guy. By 8:30, I was in Rosen's office, quickly filled him in on the situation. He took some of my blood himself and said he'd take it to the lab. The results would be kept secret and only have my name until they need to be shown for legal stuff. Is this your first time doing this, Doc? No. Darn it, pal, he said, trying to sound like John Wayne. Seems like everyone around here is into John Wayne. Maybe I'll hear back by end of tomorrow or maybe Monday. He didn't want to rush the lab, folks. No worries. Thanks. After that, I went back to TSN, sat down with Lois Montgomery. She went through all the info, checked my money stuff closely, and spent almost 2 hours on it. It felt as awkward as a doctor's checkup. When we finished, she took a long breath and filled me in. Well, Mr. Clinton, it's a mix of good and bad. A prenup will keep 80% of your stuff safe if you divorce because of cheating, but it seems you can only split your home in 2. You won't need to pay for kids, but you might have to split your retirement money and savings. I thanked her for agreeing to make a detailed report and promised to have it ready for Eli by day's end. With thanks, I went upstairs to see Eli Sharp. When I got there, he was talking to a woman who seemed about 40. Molly looked nice. She had short brown hair, deep eyes, and a friendly smile. Her handshake was strong and her look was sharp. It felt like I had to be honest with her. Molly's jacket was on a chair and a gun was on her belt. This made me think I should stay on her good side. After some nice Iowa-style hellos, she got right to it. Mr. Clinton, your wife is seeing a young doctor student, Justin Banks, with help from a good lady named Beth. I put listening and seeing gadgets in their room at the Hampton Hotel, she explained, stopping to glance at her notes. Beth wanted me to tell you she has a great niece in Cedar Bluff. If you want, I've turned some of the video into pictures and edited them so it's clear it's your wife. Yesterday they got back to the hotel around 1 o'clock and stayed until 6 o'clock, then went out to eat. They ate Chinese food in West Des Moines and came back to the Hamptons around 8. My guy in the lobby told me they left the hotel around 10, Banks and Mrs. Clinton in separate cars, and Mrs. Clinton went back to where she's still staying. She gave me a big folder with photos and a flash drive with videos on the table. I wouldn't look at these if I were you. If you do watch, make sure you're ready for it. Seeing Miss Lindsay cheat was really sad. I really don't like cheaters and the pain they cause. After asking around about you, I believe you don't deserve this kind of hurt from your wife. After swapping a few more ideas with Sharp about what we plan to do in the next few weeks, she stood up, put on her coat, shook my hand, wished me good luck, and left the room fast. Sharp then pulled out a special bottle of Knob Creek and a shot glass from his cupboard to help me chill. I knocked it back in one go. Ready to keep talking, we got into different bits of the mess, like the news from my last blood test and how the split-up might hit my wallet. "What's your biggest aim?" Tyler asked sharp. "What matters most to you when all this is done?" I paused to think, then spoke. "I want to get out as soon as I can. I'll wait if I have to and won't rush things, but just thinking of being near her makes me upset. It's very key for me that we stick to the deal we made when we got married. I'm okay with splitting the house and the small stuff, but I don't want her getting money off me. Plus, I need to keep what's left of my pride. I need it to be clear that she cheated, not me. We didn't just drift apart. I'm not going to sue the hospital because I work there too. And I don't think Unity Point Health is at fault. But I want everyone to know I'm leaving her because she went behind my back with Justin Banks. I plan to make Banks regret what he did. And though I doubt I can make the hospital kick him out, I hope he ends up driving a UPS truck in Goodland, Kansas." Sharp listened and nodded along with a mix of hope. "We'll make sure everyone knows why you're splitting up. But that won't stop the court from trying to get you both to talk it out to save the marriage. If your partner doesn't want a divorce, it wouldn't be odd if her lawyer tries to slow things down in court. They might think this will make you change your mind. It is smart to think ahead about any bad effects this might have on the hospital's work. Though a hospital can cut down on bad outcomes by making new students follow rules, it's not sure to work. Tyler, you need to head back home very soon. You might find a way to stay away for most of the weekend, but you should return as quickly as you can, acting like everything is fine, as if your life hangs on it. Be cautious not to let slip any info if you think it might make her upset before we're ready. I'm sure you'll stay clear of Banks no matter what. If you start to feel beaten, I'll ask Molly to watch over you for some time. I told the lawyer I'd listen, even if it means having to keep quiet no matter how much it bugs me." It was Friday afternoon when I left Sharp's office. I sat in the car for 30 minutes, trying to think of a way to get home without risking too much. I couldn't come up with a good plan. So I just went for it and found myself driving back on Route 35, heading towards Kansas City. Lynn was expecting me at home by 7, so I knew I had to move fast. After about 90 minutes of driving, I got to the small town of Bethany, Missouri, and stopped at a local tire shop. A guy in his 40s named Ed was there, leaning on the counter, with a shirt that had his name on it. He looked happy, lost in a Sports Illustrated magazine, and clearly didn't want to work late. Ignoring how he felt, I approached him, and he asked, "How can I help you?" I said, "I need 4 new tires." Ed sighed, thinking about his boss's plans for the season. It seemed the strategy was more critical than making money. He stood up and walked over to the car. "These tires are still good," he said strong. But Ed looked mad. He didn't know what real mad was. "Look, Ed," I said, "I care a lot for my car and money's not an issue. Can we get new tires or not?" He mumbled as he went inside and opened his desk. "Year 2005? Not today, but tomorrow by 10 in the morning I can have them," he said, pulling out a small math tool. He did some math, showed me it would cost $1,455 in all, with shipping, putting them on, and tax. "All right," I said. "Go for it." He looked confused, but made the order. "Okay, see you in the morning," he said. And I left before he could say more. He went back to his magazine. I hit the road and found a room at the Super 8 motel for $8 a night. I fell on the bed and called Lynn. "You're nearly home, I can't wait to see you," she said. After 2 days with Justin, she sounded happy. "I'm sorry, Lynn, I'm late. Hit some stuff on the road from a big truck. Now I'm stuck in Bethany, a small place in Missouri. They can fix my tires, but not till tomorrow. I won't get home till noon. So you could ask Justin to stay over," I thought but didn't say. "You okay, love? Anything hit the car's front glass?" "No, I'm good. Having Taco Bell now and breakfast tomorrow. I'm sorry for the wait, Lynn. I feel bad, but it's good I'm safe. I miss you lots and wanted to see you tonight. But I can wait till tomorrow. Just stay safe and come back to me soon." "Yes, Lynn, I'm worn out, still shaking off what went down earlier. I'm gonna knock back some beers I snagged from Jiffy Mart, then crash. Catch you tomorrow, okay? Take care, Tyler. Love ya. Night, Lynn." I guessed lying more was in my future. "Love you too," I said, meaning it. But deep down, I wasn't there yet. Not sure if she caught my drift, but right then, it didn't matter. I hit my desk and tore open what Molly had passed me. Inside, proof of my wife's cheat with Justin. After pulling myself together and wrapping up the night's biz, I hit the spot where it all went down and plugged in the flash drive. Sitting through an hour of hurt, anger started to bubble up. My head hurt so bad. My wife's choice to step out on me wasn't just shocking. My fury at Justin would bubble up later, but for now, it was all about her. The one I thought loved me, pledged to stick by me. Through our 8 married years and the one we were engaged, never thought I'd look elsewhere. Sure, I've given a glance or two at other women, had passing thoughts, but the idea of stepping out on her, causing her pain. Never. Then, how upset she got over that prenup, taking it as a sign I didn't trust her. It made me see her differently, as someone more into her own wants and needs. Didn't seem like she got what it meant to really love someone, to my mind. And that broke my heart, on top of the hurt. Anger set in. Couldn't shake it. The next few weeks won't be easy, but I was set on moving forward. My main aim now was to break free from her as fast as I could. And as for Dr. Justin, her so-called hotshot, he had to face the payback too. The next day, I went for a quick bite with a few fast food tacos. No joke, I was really stuck at Taco Bell. A pair of coffees washed away the bad taste, and I met up with Ed to buy 4 new tires. Come next day, Ed was all smiles. He said hi with a big grin when I walked in. Guess he found out he could make some quick cash by selling my old tires on the side. His shop had a couple of deer heads up on the wall and a picture of Ed next to a deer, bow in hand. Maybe he'll use that extra cash to get a new bow for hunting season. Oddly, that thought kind of made me feel better. By 11:30 that morning, all 4 tires were on, and I couldn't put off going home any longer. Driving back got me thinking about messing with Lynn's head. Just the idea of seeing her made me tense. Before going home, I made a quick stop near Des Moines. Got to the house around noon. Lynn's car was where it's always at. I walked into soft jazz playing, think it was Norman Brown's Just Chillin', the track turning the corner. Lynn was in the kitchen, moving to the music, doing dishes. She didn't see me sneak up on her. I gave her a scare. "Damn it, Tyler, you scared me!" she yelled as I got her. "Let go, you dummy!" I left a mark on her neck, thinking Dr. Banks would be green with envy, thinking surprises were fun. But I knew acting like a caveman was dumb. "What's up with you?" Tyler said to Lynn, real surprised. "Are you worried about the marks on your neck and how you'll look in the OR on Monday?" "Tyler, that's not it. You just scared me is all. Maybe I went too far. I'm happy you're back. Let's head upstairs." I let her be, grabbed my bag, and climbed the stairs. "Forget it, Lynn. Just tell everyone your silly husband messed up and made you mad." It was my first time speaking to Lynn that way. Since I wasn't facing her, I couldn't see how she took it. She just said, "Whatever you say." I unpacked, showered quickly, changed into comfy weekend clothes, and went back downstairs. I found Lynn at the kitchen table busy texting. She put her phone down and stared at me. She wasn't ready to forgive, but she looked less mad. I had a guess about who she was texting. "I'm sorry, Lynn. I know I was gone too long, but I only thought about returning to you. I wanted to surprise you, but it seems I messed up. I thought you wanted me back so badly, but I got it wrong. I'm sorry for the mix-up. Have a good day and night. I'm off." I didn't wait to hear her response, but I think she was surprised. Even when we fought, I kept calm and kind. Our fights were mostly quiet and calm. I left it all behind and headed to the club to change into golf gear and sneak some balls. I then worked on my pitching, thinking my new single life might let me play more, but leaving that way didn't make me feel better. A few hours later, I was in the men's locker room, enjoying a beer and chatting with some doubles buddies. My friend Tom Harris, a big-deal local banker, was there too. He shared that his wife, Connie, had gone to Denver to see family for the weekend. On a whim, I invited him to have dinner with me. We picked to hang out at the Mulberry Street Tavern right in the heart of town and got there just in time for their 4 p.m. open. We sipped on a bunch of bourbons and dug into their top-rated burgers. The big game between the Cardinals and Mets was on the big screen. My buddy and I chowed down on burgers, chatting about throwing skills amidst my jam-packed days. This slice of simple life made me really thankful. We headed out at 7 p.m. Glancing at my phone, I saw 6 texts from Lynn, each sent about half an hour apart. She started messaging about an hour after I left, pleading for me to head back. "Tyler, I'm really sorry. Please, we need to talk. Tyler, where are you? Just come back. Stop not answering. Tyler, I see you've seen these. Time to come back. What's happening? Tyler. All right, but it's on you, I asked. In my head, I'm like, no, you're the one messing around and not being true. I kept quiet and chose the local movie theater instead. Caught the new Fire Starter about a kid able to start fires with her mind. I daydreamed about teaming up with her for some bank heists. The movie wrapped up just before 10 and I headed back. Getting to ours, Lynn's car was nowhere. Not shocked, I guessed she ran off to her side guy for comfort. I thought, might as well hit the club for a few more drinks, then home by 11:30. But Lynn beat me home, found her sitting on our bed. Thanks for ditching and ignoring my texts. Where'd you jump off to? She was all firm, acting like she was wronged. I laid out my night, a club dinner with Tom Harris, then catching a film, coming back, hitting the club solo because she wasn't around, and then back again. When I asked her where she was, she looked away and said she didn't have a home to stay in. When I asked if she was with someone, she paused before saying she met a buddy at the cafe to celebrate. I asked who the buddy was. Does it matter? We need to talk about what happened before. Okay, let's talk. Tyler, I'm sorry if I got upset, but you scared me with your anger and I got confused. Your moves were a shock and made me defend myself. I didn't like your touches. Most of what I feel for you is respect, and your acts didn't show me love or respect. Lynn, I get that I shocked you, but I thought you meant you wanted us to try new things when you said you wanted more excitement. I want to change things, Lynn. Let's just go wild and do something crazy. How about we go off to a hidden cabin in the woods or fly in a hot balloon at sunrise? Let's get the thrill and fire back in us. We're stuck doing the same old dinners and beach trips, but now's the time to do something new and light up our spark. Let's make memories that will wow us and test our love story. I can't trust what you say. It doesn't add up. Maybe it's true, but not like this. That's wrong, Lynn. I know what we talked about, and we can't twist the past. If you changed your mind, say so and don't make things up. And don't say you weren't hinting at being close. Tyler, why are you so hard on me? And stuck in your ways? I might have talked about it, but why did you push me against the counter or leave marks on my neck? Lynn, do you remember what you had on during our chat? Why does it matter? It matters to our talk. I just got done with yard work, showered, and left the room. It was a side of me you hadn't seen, and we talked a lot. How do we go from this to being all lovey on the beach? Pick 10 married guys and tell them this tale. Ask them how they see your invite. If 9 don't talk about what I did today, I'll get you any car you want. Tyler, this is nuts. It's not just fair, but also spot on. When you get dressed up for your man and ask him to make your life exciting, it doesn't mean you're asking for romantic stuff. Again, you twist the truth to make yourself look good and me bad. Tyler, you're not giving in won't help. Maybe we'll leave it, and you'll just come to bed and hold me. I'm sorry, Lynn, but that won't do. If you're not happy with how I am, okay, I won't try anymore. But don't act like you don't know and blame me. You seem to care more about others seeing a mark than how I feel. I don't want to fight for you, so I say I was wrong. Night, Lynn. With that, I went to the guest room. Tyler, come back. I'm not done talking. Damn it. I ignored it, thinking my first try at dropping hints worked. I stayed away from talking to her, not wanting to show my hand. I really doubted she was putting together the truth. She was too scared to think that I knew she was cheating. There were days we didn't connect in our marriage, but Sunday was extra cold. We stayed away from each other. We barely spoke. I spent the morning at the club, and after lunch I did some yard work. I went to bed early. When she came into our room, I was asleep. I'll sleep here till you say sorry, Tyler, she said. Okay, Lynn. I won't fight about it. We can take turns in our room. It's for both of us. Today I stay. If you don't like it, there's always the other room. I'll be in the main room tomorrow and you can have it tonight. I don't like your plan. Sleep in the other room till you change your mind. Lynn, you don't always get to decide. We're equals. I'm sleeping here tonight. Do what you want. She called me a bad name and went to the other room. The week went on like that, barely talking. She tried to annoy me, but I didn't talk much. On Monday, she told me about a bad day at work when her coworkers joked about a love bite. On Tuesday, Stan Rosen, our doctor, asked me to see him. He said I have a light case of chlamydia, but it didn't worry me much. He said men often don't feel sick and it's easy to fix. He asked how I got it. I said it must be from my wife. I trust our doctor. He keeps secrets well. I have been true to my wife since we got engaged. But last Thursday, I found out she was seeing another guy. I guess she got sick from him, unless there's more I don't know. I sounded sad telling the doctor this. He felt bad for us and thought we had a strong marriage. He gave me medicine called azithromycin. So, like I said before, things should go fine. But I need to talk to Lynn and we can't hook up for a while just to be safe. Man, this isn't a huge issue. But I'm in the middle of big changes and gotta talk to a lawyer before I tell my wife. This infection isn't gonna kill anyone, but if we ignore it, it could lead to big health trouble. It might even mess with a gal's chance to have kids. If Lynn caught it not long ago, we might be okay. A few weeks isn't perfect, but the longer it's not dealt with, the riskier it gets. Tyler, you gotta think about being responsible, even if you're hurting. Keeping others safe matters. Stan, you're right. I hate thinking I'm being careless because I'm in pain. But I gotta ask, since I haven't felt sick, could it be too soon for her to know she's got it? Yeah, some ladies might not get sick, but that doesn't mean it can't hurt them. I can't tell you what to do, but waiting more than 2 days is a bad idea. He said he'd take the prescription to the drugstore, a place I seldom go. I was thankful to him for looking out for my good name. An hour later, I was talking to Eli, my lawyer, telling him everything. He chuckled about how I tried to handle it. But when we got to talking about STDs, he got serious. This really complicates things, he said, clearly worried. Even for a tough lawyer, being careful matters a lot, especially with risky health stuff like this. His lawyer joke made me laugh, though. The doc said we had 48 hours, but I thought it best to move fast within 24. I planned to chat with trusted pals and promised to meet at 8 in the morning sharp. Lynn didn't make it home until 10 at night, way after her work was meant to end at 6. If she thought I'd ask where she had been, she was wrong. I was too caught up watching the TV show Only Murders in the Building when she walked in and glanced my way. She let out a big sigh and went straight upstairs, not saying a word. Usually she'd sit with me, munching on popcorn as I handed her a glass of white wine. The hard truth hit me hard then. Things between us were over for good. It hurt to know she had been unfaithful. Still, part of me couldn't let go of my love for her. I grieved the loss, knowing she was gone for good. The next morning, I was in the TK&K meeting room. Sharp, Molly's detective, and Mick Sawyer, one of her lawyers, were there. I shared my worries about the timing, but said it was time to make a move. We all agreed that new info on health risks meant we had to act fast. I said I had thought about how to tell Lynn. The plan was to surprise her before dropping the bomb. I figured I could spill the beans without letting on it was me who did it. The folks at the table looked unsure but kept quiet, waiting to see what I'd do next. What if I told Lindsay Clinton's baby doctor about her sickness in secret? Wouldn't the doctor have to tell her then? After you folks could prove it was me who sent the note, and Molly would back it up with the when and where. I aimed to do this right and with trust, since my doctor said there was a 48-hour window to act. I tried to reach him in under 30 minutes. It seemed risky, but she might get the medical help she needs. Can she stand up in court? Molly and Mick held their breath as Sharp thought it over. After a quiet moment, he decided it wasn't perfect, but it wasn't the worst idea either. You might look small-minded, but you're not really careless or a lawbreaker. It all depends on the situation and the judge. This might work out. Don't do this, Tyler. This is not a good idea, Molly said. I think Molly's right, added Mick. Tyler. MC grinned. You don't have to go through with this, Sharp said. In the end, she'll know it wasn't Banks's plan. Any judge will ask who knew what you did and if they tried to stop you. That person should be you. She'll figure out you know about her secret. Give me a day or two to prepare to meet her. Thanks for the advice, but I've made up my mind. As soon as I leave here, I'm going to call Dr. Pamela Connors, I said. Then I want to be there as a witness, Molly said. I don't want to think it was all done without checking. We talked about some more things before I left. 40 minutes later, Dr. Connors got a strange message from someone she didn't know. Molly Baker, a private eye, was on the other line. Dr. Connors, I'm keeping who I am a secret, but I know that your patient, Mrs. Lindsay Clinton, has chlamydia. Now that you know, I hope you'll do your job and help her get better. Thank you. After I hung up, I broke the phone and later threw it in a pond a few miles from my home. No one saw me break Iowa's trash laws by dumping the phone. Molly drove to Dr. Connors' place. A black Honda parked nearby and Lynn got out. The car was messy before she went into the office. She came back out 45 minutes later looking all messed up. Molly followed her to a drugstore where Lynn grabbed a few meds. Later, I sat on the porch watching a game where the Cardinals won by 10 points against the Royals. Lynn and I didn't talk much. She didn't say hi and went straight upstairs. Half an hour later, she came out, looked cleaner, and sat by me with a deep sigh. "Tyler, can we stop fighting and be normal again?" she asked sharply. I paused before answering. "I don't know, Lynn. How can we start to be okay again? Maybe we can just stop fighting and move on." "I'm not sure," I said. "Why do you think so?" She looked really wanting to know. Maybe the news about bad diseases startled her. "I'm willing to let things go, Lynn. I've said sorry a lot for getting your words wrong, but you still don't think you did anything to say sorry for." "All right," she said with a huff. "I'm sorry for that. Are we good now?" "No, Lynn, it's not all good. I've known you for nearly 10 years, and I can tell when you're not totally honest. Maybe I'm wrong, Lynn. It feels like your words are right, but your heart isn't in it. Can you tell me what's wrong so we can move past this?" As I spoke, Lynn gave me a sad look. I was ready for her to maybe say she cheated, even with past sorries not being real. I still hoped maybe I got her wrong. Could I find a way to forgive her and fix our marriage? The idea scared me, but I pushed those fears away. Our future was on thin ice because of what Lynn had to say when she got mad again. Her eyes showed her real feelings. She kept blaming me, making it clear we were done. "You're just too hard-headed, Tyler Adam Clinton," she said. I said sorry, but she tossed it back at me, saying it wasn't good enough. She kept saying I had driven us into a corner and it was my fault. If we couldn't mend our bond, "Well, Lindsay Abbott Simon," she said, using her own last name. "I'm sorry you feel that way, but by the look on your face and how you talk, it's clear you think I'm at fault and you're not. You seem to think I'm stubborn and too full of myself. So I dare you. Find just one friend of ours who truly thinks I'm too proud, who doesn't admit faults or say sorry. Then I'll see your point." She got up, glanced at me, then walked into the house. I let out a big sigh, knowing it had been a week since I found out she had broken our marriage promise. The next weeks were going to be tough, and I had to start looking at options. The next day, I was in my boss's office. Connie Silverton was known for being fair but also strict. This probably helped her become the CEO of a big medical place. Even though it was hard, I shared my situation with her, needing advice and support to get through the next 2 weeks until I could hand Lynn the divorce papers. Connie was both professional and kind. She felt bad about what I was going through and shared her own story about her parents' split when she was young. Before she offered to help, Connie made it clear how important it was for me to keep focused on my job during this time. She knew a big storm was coming and told me to hold on tight in these tough times. "Connie, I want you to know even if things get rough in the next few weeks, I really love my job and the folks I work with. I'm happy I can keep helping you out. Even though I'm hurting, I'm staying strong and won't let the lady who let me down wreck my career. I'm all in to work for you since I trust you to be straight with me. I heard about the meetup for hospital money bosses happening next week in Washington, and I plan to join. Thanks for standing by me. Before, I said no to going because it cost a lot. But this year, I feel it's good for the team if I go. The meetup goes from Monday to Thursday noon. Since your family's on the East Coast, why not say yes to joining and then spend the weekend with them, your treat? How's that sound? I'd give you a hug to say thanks, but I remember you might not be into that. Plus, I don't want to upset Mike. Mike was a tough, retired Army guy. Your kind acts won't be forgotten and you won't regret helping me." She showed me a kindness I'd never seen before. "I'll get the paperwork done today, Tyler. If you can get back by next Sunday, I'll give you a week off. Now go think about how we can strike a deal with the nurses' union. They're playing tough." I stood, nodded, and promised to handle it. "Boss, if I can cut our costs by 5% for the next deal, can we talk about a bonus at the end of the year?" When she got serious again, I knew it was my cue to head out. Only 3 days to the conference, and with some luck, I won't have to wait too long after getting back to hear what happens next. Despite not being sure, I managed to finish my tasks and even made Jody Meyer from the nurses' union upset by showing her plan was wrong. I thought to leave her be until next Monday. Thinking over it, I guessed she'd be in more trouble when her folks find out she's got no deal or hope. On my way home, I called Dad and my brother to say I'd be around next weekend and wanted to meet up. I wasn't sure if I should tell them the bad news, but felt they'd get it and have my back once they knew everything. Before hitting the road, I rang up Elaine Sharp's lawyer. He quickly told me to pull in 1 or 2 helpers to catch some proof of someone being false. When I got home, Lynn wasn't there, which was odd. But then, odd things were the norm for me lately. It was her second day off in a 3-day break. Weird, we had 0 plans. By then, she was likely out having fun with Justin or some other guy. That's when I first thought she might be seeing others. Perhaps things weren't so grim. What if Banks had someone who was being untrue to him? I thought of sending Banks a sly note to watch out for his love, so I don't end up hurt. With all this in mind, I decided to go out for a run. In high school, I ran cross-country but was never top-notch. Running 3 to 5 miles a few times a week helped clear my mind. My regular path took me to the golf course and back, with a few tough hills for extra hard work. I pushed myself harder today, aiming to tire myself out so I could sleep better. When my life fell apart, I had to keep going, with no time to think about it all. Running let me sort through my thoughts, but it was tough to shake off the sadness over Lynn cheating on me. It's been 9 days since I found out the woman I loved doesn't love me back. Finding out she wasn't true hurt a lot. As I went up the first hill, I thought about my part in our failing relationship. I knew that in a marriage, you can't just blame one person. Maybe I was too into my job, not paying enough attention to us. I wondered how she'd react in the future, if she'd ever say sorry or make excuses for what she did. I knew her cheating broke our marriage, but thinking of her in the hospital, I wondered how I'd feel seeing her with others. Would she have left or stayed in the city? I couldn't see her leaving without trying. She was too strong for that. I thought she'd stay and try to show me leaving her was wrong. Thinking this through, I realized I wasn't moving on well enough. By the time I reached the top of the second hill, I wasn't stuck on thoughts of my lying ex-wife. Instead, I thought of simple joys like cool air. Back home, I was totally worn out, just as I wanted. I walked down the street for 20 minutes to cool down, then had a refreshing shower after putting on swimming shorts. I grabbed a beer and went to the hot tub, feeling my legs tight from the run. Lynn wasn't back, not showing up by 11 p.m. I had dinner, watched 2 episodes of Ted Lasso, and went to sleep. Lynn didn't come home, didn't write or call. I left her be, respecting her space. It was a first for us, being apart over 12 hours without a word or knowing where the other was. I took 2 sleep aids and 4 pain pills to help my sore neck. I slept in till 7 the next day. Coming downstairs, I saw Lynn's door shut, meaning she came back sometime last night. After a quiet moment, I got on with my day, had coffee, ate some sandwiches, showered, got dressed, and went to play golf. The weather in Des Moines was really nice for late May, so I enjoyed hitting some golf balls, played a full game with friends, and had a long lunch around 3 p.m. With nothing else to do, I went home. Lynn and I hadn't talked at all, and it felt like we were both avoiding it. When I got back, she was out. I thought about last night again. It was the same the next morning, but I had a flight to catch to Reagan International at 4 p.m. I mowed the lawn and looked after the flowers, things Lynn and I used to do together. Near 11 a.m., Lynn showed up at the door, but instead of talking, she just went back inside. As I packed, I made up my mind. If she wanted space and silence, fine, but I wasn't going to let her decide everything without even a note. I left for the airport, not telling her anything about where I was going or for how long. I doubted she'd notice I was gone for a week. Part of me wished she would see and maybe even ask her awful lover Justin to come over and sleep in our bed. This would make her list of wrongs even longer. 2 big things happened on Tuesday. Eli called to tell me that Mary's family got new pictures and videos showing Lynn and Banks were okay. This news didn't shock me, but what came next did. A message from Lynn. The message wasn't kind. She asked, "Where are you?" I said, "In Washington." What she said next was sharp. She blamed me for not telling her I was at a meeting for hospital finance bosses, all because Connie asked me to go. "Every night you came back home very late and didn't talk to your husband who had been waiting since the early morning." "Where were you all this time?" She dodged the question. "Tyler, I was so scared something bad had happened to you. I can't believe you made me worry so much. Why didn't you just drop me a text?" "I texted you, but you never got back to me." "If you texted me and I didn't answer, why didn't you call the cops?" "What?" When you were worried about me, you didn't call the cops. No, I didn't think to. It crossed my mind. But you should have tried to reach me anyway. What about talking to my boss, my dad, my brother, or our mates? Who did you reach out to make sure I was safe? I tried a few folks. Don't shift the blame to me, Tyler. Tell me, who did you try reaching out to so I can check? I won't take harsh words from someone as uncaring and sloppy as you, Lynn. You might think I'm uncaring and sloppy, but at least I'm not a liar like you. If you really cared, you would have texted me, but we both know you didn't. You would also have called our mates, work pals, or family, which we both know you didn't do. Where were you last Friday and Saturday? I asked, feeling a bit mad. You need to tell me the truth, dear wife. Your not telling makes me sad. Tyler. Lynn, you find it hard to say what you did. And one more thing, I'm really mad at you. There was no sound on the phone. Did she think I knew something? Did she feel bad for lying? I thought about if she knew she did something wrong. I felt hot and sweaty like I had just run a lot. I got myself together, showered, and went to the meeting. The next week was okay, even though my heart hurt. I met new people and talked about important stuff. The weekend with my dad and brother was tough, but good. They tried to help me and understand, but they couldn't really get how I felt. My mom died 3 years ago when she was 63. My dad was there, loving her for more than 40 years. My dad felt my sadness, but not my upset feelings about Lynn. He thought I was being too hard. But my brother Elliot, who's been with Mary for 11 years and has 3 kids, seemed happy. They still looked at each other with love and worked out their problems. I was glad to see my brother doing well in his marriage. We spent the day playing golf, watching football, and had a nice lunch. I loved hanging out with my nephews. As the day ended, I sadly waved goodbye to my dad at Reagan Airport. He wrapped me in a tight hug, his hands cupping my face as he gazed into my eyes with a serious look. I know it's tough, my boy, but you'll get through this. Lynn has been only thinking about herself and causing harm. But don't give up hope. Keep pushing on. Take it day by day. I think you'll feel better with time and these kind words. With that, he hugged me, hopped into his Ford F-150 and drove back to Springfield, Virginia. When I got to the DSM, it was nearly noon. I hit the office to handle some work stuff. Coming back, I was hoping Jody Meyer would step up in our talks. The good news was her new offer was much closer to what we wanted. Though there was still a bit to fix, it was clear the nurses didn't want a long strike and felt working together we could make a fair deal. As I walked by Connie's office, I caught her glance and her usual doubtful look. I stopped for a bit, then decided to smile back, curious about what she was thinking. Hi, boss. I want to say thanks for the seminar last week. It was really helpful, and I truly enjoyed the time with my family. Also, I've gone over the nurse's offer, and I'm confident by the end of this week, we'll have an agreement that's good for us. No worries. Now leave my office and come back when you have real news. We always had this kind of fun talk, but today it felt extra special. Just as I was about to walk out, I stopped. Hey, boss. Connie gave me a puzzled look. What? I gave her a big grin. I love you too. Laughing, I left the room before she could flick her pen at me. Right then, I felt that having a simple life with kind coworkers really is the best cure. Maybe my dad was onto something. Maybe the ache in my heart will slowly fade away. After getting back, I called my lawyer to hear the latest on our case. Soon, Eli was on the phone, saying to meet him at his office early in the morning at 7 before I went to work. He thought we were set to go. Over the weekend, though, Lynn kept on with her wrong ways, seeing her other guy. I won't dive deep, but we got photos of her dressed up in a schoolgirl outfit at their regular hotel spot. When I got home, it was all dark, silent, and no one was around. It looked like things with Lynn were done for good. We hadn't been close for the last 3 weeks, and after coming back from a trip to Kansas City, talking got hard. I missed the Lynn I first knew, not who she turned into. I missed her laugh, her spark, her fun spirit, and her strong ways. The Lynn I loved under the setting sun and twinkling stars. I tossed my bag, grabbed a beer, and sat outside. Even as I was mad about what she did, tears kept falling. I knew one day I won't have any tears left for her or what we had. I can't get past her lies and cheating. If I could show Justin's real face, I would. My pride was hit, but still standing. But that night, I let myself feel the loss of everything now lost, worn out. By 10 p.m., I headed to bed. After a quick shower, sleep took over as soon as I laid down. We slept apart, so I didn't know if she came in late or not. Could have been 5 minutes after me, or 3 in the morning. But I knew nothing and didn't stress. I woke up around 5:30 a.m., wanting to get ready before seeing Eli and the team at 7. Lynn's car was in the drive and the guest room door was shut. If I got it right, she was off to work for 3 days starting today. "Good to see you. Looks like we won't bump into each other much this week," Eli said as he met me. Along with him were super sleuth Molly and her helper Peg. Molly welcomed me with a grin while Peg asked if I wanted coffee. After talking a bit, we dug into the mess where Sharp was the key name. "We're aiming to confront Lynn this week," Tyler explained. "Molly has found enough to show your wife was not true to you. Just going over the same stuff won't help us anymore. Plus, you still need to pay Molly over $6,000. So I think you should thank her and let her focus on something else now." As he finished speaking, a smile showed they were tight pals. Molly just tapped Eliza lightly before leaving. "Hope this sorts out fast and easy for you, Tyler," she said, shaking my hand. I thanked her, hoping I wouldn't need her help again. But I said I'd tell others about her if they needed help. Sharp and I thought over how to deal with Lynn, picking when and where. I threw in the idea of doing it at her job on Thursday, when Lynn and Justin would be there with others. Or maybe he felt waiting too long might play into Lynn's hands. "Tyler, you've been really holding in these past weeks, but seems you're at your limit. I say we should meet her tonight or no later than tomorrow," he suggested. "One of Molly's guys is keeping an eye on the hospital and can tell us the best time to catch her by surprise." I was on board with this plan. I spent last night crying over this betrayal. I was set for the final showdown, remembering my favorite Clint Eastwood film, Outlaw. It made me think of the big standoff between Jose and his 3 foes. So, who's gonna grab their gun, or are we just gonna stand around? A question hung in the air, waiting for the fight to start. Also, Sharp found this little-known law that let me sue Justin Banks for breaking up my marriage. And even though Eli didn't think it would work, the chance to make Justin look bad could mess up his love life and doctor dreams. I was all in on this idea. We decided Allie would tell me when the case was done, and I could wait at home to talk to Lynn. Sharp wanted proof of our chat in case things got worse, so he had Peg set up some spying gear. One of Molly's people would place it on our back deck, and their car would wait nearby if things got too hot. "You can call the cops." I couldn't see Lynn going off the deep end, but then again, just 4 weeks back, I'd have laughed at the thought of my wife stepping out with a med student. After lunch, I got an email from Jody Meyer. We had to finish our contract talk by 3 p.m. I was beat, but we hashed out a deal. No one got everything they wanted, but it felt fair. Nurses got better pay, more overtime, and vacation time, and the hospital agreed to a 5-year deal instead of just 3, which Ayanna first wanted. Connie had to grin when I laid the board's decision on her desk. I was almost home when, out of the blue, my phone rang. It was Eli Sharp with a smirk in his voice. "How's it going?" Sharp said. "I'm sorry, Tyler. I know things are rough and I'm not trying to add to it, but I just got word from Molly." Molly said she would help look after Lynn and Banks because they had big surgery. They were all in the staff room with another nurse, a surgeon, and Michael Devlin, who is in charge of surgery at Unity Healthcare. Devlin came to see the surgery done by the famous Alex, his old friend from Yale. While Devlin and Greer were talking, Molly walked in. Her usual sharp tone made Banks, the medical student, look upset. She got too close, making him stand up to ask if she was lost. When he found out she wasn't, he told her she shouldn't be there and asked her to leave. Molly was shocked by how she was treated. Then she pushed back into the chair and got even closer to him. Banks started to sweat and looked serious. She asked him if he was the husband she was looking for. "Is that Justin Banks a good-for-nothing?" He said yes, but reluctantly. The room went quiet and everyone looked at Molly when she turned to Lynn. Lynn looked scared. Molly tried to sound nice, but her smirk showed. "And you, are you Lynn Clinton? Tyler Clinton's wife?" She said yes in a low voice. With that, Molly knew she had met Mr. Banks and had also seen him. Molly thought this was a great moment and didn't want to leave. Wanting to keep that feeling, Dr. Devlin warned Banks, "If you did what I think you did, you won't work as a doctor in Iowa or anywhere else, if I can help it." Then he looked at Lynn, realizing what happened, and said, "Please don't be foolish, Lynn." Lynn bowed her head, hearing Molly walk away after hearing what Devlin said. Lynn, you should head home and stay away from work till a union rep tells you it's okay. Molly's guy is just a short walk from home and will be coming to work soon. Get set, kiddo, because you're about to face one of the toughest times in your life. Stay cool and in control, even if things get really tough. If it's too much, take a break. Go for a walk or step into another room. Keep in mind you've got this. And Molly's by your side. The worst bit is done. We kept talking, planning what to do next. Eli looked like he was ready to be there for me through what was coming as we wrapped up our chat. The sound of Lynn's car stopping at the house caught my ear. Once I thanked Shap, I said I'd call once we were done to share how it all went. Lynn walked in and found me sitting out back. She looked a mess, like she had cried all the way home. When our eyes met, I saw sadness and anger in hers. "How long have you known him?" "It's only been 3 wild weeks, Lynn," I said back. "How did you figure it out?" "I planned to come home early from the conference to surprise you and spend time together. But when I got back Friday morning, you weren't there. I checked the Glimpse app and saw you were at the airport. From then on, things went downhill when I called you about the pen. Later that morning, I found out you had lied and betrayed me. It was odd coming from someone who knew a lot about lying. I must say, you played me well, but I must say, I lied. I didn't mean to trap you, just wanted to see if my world was crumbling. Sadly, it looks like it is." She paused, thinking over what I said. I didn't need her to explain. Once the truth was out, I just wanted to step back from it all. Then she spoke again. I felt so bad. "Take a number, Lynn, and wait. You were really mean. You left us no way to deal with this. But if we're talking about being mean, you're the expert. What you did hurt me the most. Even though you were with Justin Banks for so long, you still hurt the one you said you loved. Let me be clear. I don't want any kind of bond with you. I'm ending our marriage and moving on without turning back. If you think I'll want to make up after what you did, you're very wrong." Finally. She sat at the far end of the couch. "But Tyler, I love you. I get where you're coming from. I didn't mean to hurt you or be mean. Justin was a slip-up. I know it was the wrong call, and I'm sorry. But I think we can talk this out like adults and be better for it. Lynn, I'm trying to stay calm. But you wrecked our marriage. Any reasonable person can see that. I've seen the photos and videos of you at the Hampton Inn airport. You can't expect me to ignore the pain and betrayal by acting like a heartbroken wife. I'm amazed you chose to spy on Justin and me. Why didn't you just talk to me when you found out? I would have stopped seeing him right away. Your choice hurt me a lot. Lynn, I really regret spying on you. We shouldn't have had any secrets, especially about cheating. How can I trust what you say now? What you did isn't something you see every day, Lynn. Look in the mirror and face reality. I wasn't sure if my wife, now acting clueless, got any of that. Lynn was lost, trying to find an easy way out instead of facing her wrongdoing. Every time she spoke, it seemed like she was just saying things that made no sense. Tyler, we don't want a divorce, right? We live together and work at the same hospital. What will people say? It would be so bad if we split while being so close, and thinking about our work friends knowing all about it is too much. Please, see how this will hurt us both? Lynn, since that Friday morning, I've felt so ashamed. Seeing you leave that hotel with him after you lied about where you were was too much. Divorce will actually be better for me. It will show everyone your true colors. I don't even care if he was the only one you were with. I can't trust you anymore. I'm glad we don't have kids. The thought of them being around you makes me sick. Why stay married if there's no respect? Tyler, what can I say to make you see that Justin was just a mistake, not real love? I know I messed up, but I do love you, and I won't ever look at another man again. Well, Lynn, you must be dreaming if you think your months of cheating and lying and then giving me a disease from him are things I can just forget. No, Lynn, I can't forgive you, and I'll get a divorce as fast as I can, no matter the cost. I'd rather be poor and alone than stay in that big house with you. The hurt you gave me is too much, and I won't be near you again without family and friends by my side. I think I'd be in a worse place now if I did. Lynn, the way you tricked me didn't care, and were mean nearly ended me. But you didn't win. Lynn, I'm standing strong, ready to leave what we had behind and not turn back. I don't know if my words hit her heart, but I saw tears in her eyes. "I'm so sorry, Tyler," she said softly, then went up to our room. When I saw how serious my choices were and what they led to, I told her, "Sorry isn't enough to make it all right, Lynn." 6 months passed and we ended our marriage. We agreed to sell the house and split the money. We shared everything else too, but there was no extra money for Lynn from me, because the judge said no. Her lawyer tried, but the judge stopped him fast. "Mrs. Bannister, your client should feel lucky Tyler is giving her half. I don't like cheaters and she can't be trusted. She'll get what's hers by law. That's it." "Don't push it," the judge said, ending it. Maybe that's just how I saw it. To end, I'm Connie Silverton, and I was there for Tyler Clinton when he was in the hospital. Connie and her husband Mike really cared about how tough things were with my tricky wife. Even after the divorce was done, I had a hard time. Lynn kept bothering me and made the court stuff drag on. Luckily, Eli Sharp was right by my side, helping me through tough times even when money was tight. I got through it all strong, skilled, and younger. I hoped she'd see the light one day. It's been 3 years since we split, but I haven't started dating again. Yet I've got friends who have my back, including a girl from Cedar Bluffs who caught my eye. And Beth Lindsay? She became kind of an outsider at the hospital. The married nurses wouldn't chat with her, and some others saw her as an easy target due to lies spread by Justin Banks 6 months after we split. She retired and moved to Denver, started working in a hospital there. About a year later, I heard she remarried a promising young surgeon and was doing well. She met some of our old coworkers at a seminar, showing she felt much better about herself after leaving her past behind. Then there's Tyler Banks. Despite being good at his job, some doctors avoided him because of what happened. Justin, too, was left in the cold, even by the most friendly doctors. After finishing his training, he struggled to find a good job. Banks ended up at a small hospital in Frankfort, Kentucky, earning much less than he could have. He married a lovely woman from the South, and rumor has it they've been happy for 3 years. But there's more. Last night, Mike, who used to be in the military, asked me over for dinner. It was a bit odd for him, but not totally surprising. We had tasty grilled steaks and great wine for dinner. After we ate, Mike suggested we all sit in front of the big screen in the living room. Connie and I looked at each other, puzzled, not knowing what to expect. But Mike, standing tall like he was back in the Army, spoke to us like he was in charge. It was just Tyler, Connie, and me. He made it clear that what we were about to talk about was a secret, just for us. I nodded along with Mike, knowing deep down that whatever we saw would be locked away and never spoken of again. Connie looked like she agreed, so I just said, "Okay, Mike, whatever you say." Then Mike opened up about a bad thing that happened nearly 4 years ago. A lady and a nasty man did something terrible to a friend close to him and Connie. We spent hours and hours talking about how it wasn't fair and hoping for things to get better. I made a lot of friends in high places during my 24 years in the Army, people who could help out. I ended up owing a lot of money over the years, and in the last year, I had to borrow from many places. When we sat down to watch the screen, we saw 2 videos that left us stunned for the next 20 minutes. The first one showed Mrs. James Thaddeus from Denver, Colorado. Known before as Mrs. Tyler Clinton, she was crying and yelling at her husband. She was upset, asking how he could cheat on her after being loyal all their marriage. "Today I found a video of you cheating at the Hampton Inn Hotel. I'm so mad at you for destroying what we had. Get out of my house." Dr. Jim left, and Lynn was left crying alone. She held an envelope with the message inside. Cheating hurts, doesn't it? In the second video, Justin Banks was standing alone in a quiet part of Kentucky. His young wife was crying while showing some shiny pictures that proved he was unfaithful. Banks was then faced by 3 scary men, one of them dressed as a sheriff. "Did you think you could hurt our sister and we wouldn't find out? You're in trouble now," one of them barked. Banks hit the floor, crying hard. A man in a suit saw this, and Tyler, a buddy of Clinton, got a message from columnist Silverton. Then another clip came up showing a young lady who looked a lot like the one from the videos and photos. She gave a soft smile and looked at the camera. Job done. Hey, listeners, if you enjoyed watching this video and want to stay updated with our latest content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss out on what's coming next. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video with Queen Cheating Tales.